This is Ryan Coetzee. He's one of the top anti-Brexit Remainers or Remoaners. He was part of the Remain campaign during the 2016 referendum. He lost, and now he's been hired by China to make the whole Hong Kong and China, the whole PR thing, look better against the democratic movement that's happening on the streets of Hong Kong right now. Yeah, these people don't like democracy, and now his new job is to help China against Hong Kong. Well done. Let's look into this guy and see who he is and what's actually happening. So this is the, as we said, the Remoaner, who's going to be helping to crush Hong Kong's democracy. The Remain campaign director of strategy is now doing PR for the Chinese authorities and authoritarianism. So this is the article by Spike talking about how Hong Kong's autonomy, freedoms and partial democracy are under brutal assault from the Chinese state. The introduction of a national security law has effectively shattered the one country, two systems approach, and the ongoing pro-democracy movement is obviously damaging the reputation of Beijing, but also the Hong Kong government internationally, and with Britain obviously intervening right now in terms of, again, the PR game. It's not really helping the Chinese state and the Communist Party. Now, according to The Guardian, the Hong Kong government has awarded £5 million a contract to this guy basically to run a relaunch campaign to help their reputation. As if people can't see exactly what's happening on the streets. They think people are stupid. So £5 million contract to make their government look better as it is. And now this is a weird situation because Ryan, who was part of the Remain campaign, he has a very, very poor track record. So I'm not really worried or concerned about what he's going to be doing in China. We talked about the Remain campaign in the referendum, but also he was part of the Project Fear, the whole campaign to ensure that the Brits are scared about leaving the European Union. It was designed to do this and to make sure that we stay in the anti-democratic EU. Now, of course, as this article says, even after Remain lost the vote, the campaign carried on for several years, trying to prevent the referendum result from being enacted. Now Coetzee is using his PR skills in the service of a far more authoritarian goal, worse than the European Union. He will be assisting Hong Kong officials as they try to protect their reputation while allowing a takeover of Hong Kong by Beijing. I mean, I don't understand this. This is a guy who's, with all the differences, we talk about, you've got the Remain side, you've got the Brexit side, a lot of people on the Remain side were still good people. Some of them didn't respect the democratic vote, but they just genuinely thought that staying in the EU is a good idea, and then they moved on. And they are still, most of them, patriotic Brits. This guy doesn't seem to be. He's your typical corporate lobbyist communicator who's just there to make money and to ensure that democracy is crushed, as Spike would say. Now, it's not even the first authoritarian regime that this Remainer has helped. He was previously involved in efforts to help Saudi Arabia and the royal family there to make their image slightly better and say that, look at Saudi, they are nice people now. They're making all these reforms, and he's even worked as a strategist for Nick Clegg's Liberal Democrats. The Liberal Democrats who don't understand anything about democracy or liberalism for that matter. And so this is a very weird situation that we have right now with these guys and this guy who's essentially going to be helping the Chinese state against the democratic movement in Hong Kong. And we'll have the moment we have more information on this, we'll keep you guys posted on this channel, because you won't hear about any of this on the mainstream media, because why would you? They don't want you to know about any of this. But it's fine. We are here to do that. Now, today we're going to answer the questions that we received from the members of the channel a few days ago. I was supposed to do this a couple of days ago. I'm sorry about this. We've had some issues over here. But we have the questions now. Let's go to Sarah Farrell, who says, "Hi Maya, can't even pronounce my name. How should patriotism be encouraged in schools? Yes, because we have a massive problem in the West, specifically the UK. Because at least in America, they still there's a whole different mentality with the Americanism. Whereas in this country, we are losing our values, and we have to do something about this. I'm not really in favor of centralization or getting the government involved in education in that sense. At this point, when you look at countries like Korea, Iran, or even China, in terms of education, the first fundamental value that they teach is patriotism and caring about, well, and family values and respect and discipline. I am more than happy to have the education department to mandate all schools to respect these values and encourage students and pupils to actually understand and how we actually have to be more disciplined as kids, essentially, and understand family values and the country that we have. Otherwise, these idiots are going to take over. Dale says, when will the Conservatives start vocalizing the benefits of conservatism and capitalism? Well, probably never. If by Conservatives, I'm guessing he's talking about the Conservative Party. The Conservative Party is just called the Conservative Party. That's why we just say the Tory Party. It's not necessarily there to promote conservatism or capitalism. It's just a party machine in order to win and to win elections against the opposition, the Labour Party, the Liberal Democrats. This is why most of the time the Conservative Party members or policies are not necessarily pro-capitalism. They are just there to oppose the radical socialism that we get from the Labour Party, and then they offer you kind of light socialism, slightly a more moderate version, because they still think that in this country people are not ready for freedom. If they are scared and afraid to say that if we introduce free market capitalism in Britain, a proper free market capitalist system, then like Scandinavia, then people won't vote for it. Well, of course, the more you try to bribe voters, then the more they're not going to actually vote for the right values. And so, Margaret Thatcher tried this in the 80s and it worked for her. So don't just say that British people are stupid. Christopher says, do you think that the damage that has been done by companies and organizations promoting the BLM movement and now making the U-turns? Some, but not fully. We had Gillette a couple of years ago, making a woke advert, and they got a lot of damage. They lost a lot of revenue and profit. Some companies will see a short-term damage. Some companies their reputation will be completely destroyed. But this is still capitalism. If people want or need to buy something from a company, they'll still do it, and people will eventually move on as long as these companies make these U-turns. Stop promoting the cultural Marxists. Paul says, do you think the world, which is currently upside down with all these cultural Marxist nonsense, will it ever get back to normal? Yeah, this is a cycle. This is especially in the West. We are now going backwards to what we had in the 70s and the 60s. This is something that people on the left have been working on for decades. This is not new. They essentially since 1944 or 45, they immediately infiltrated and took over the academia, the media, the political system, and this is not a 6 months kind of project for them. And we became complacent in the West, and the political leaders became complacent. We took our freedoms for granted, and now we're having free speech being destroyed, comedy being cancelled, common sense. You're going to have books being cancelled now, and yeah, it's literally like 1984. The Big Brother is coming, but this time not by the state or government, but by our own culture. But there is a way to do it. It's just that we're going to have to go through this wave, and you're going to have to counter it from our side. David says, hi Maya, my question is, do you think the way the EU demands have been that we should just cut all ties with them and go with no deal, and with when the transition period ends, we can make it clear that we will not negotiate with the EU and that we'll do it country by country, the 27 countries individually? Well, that's never going to happen, because that's just now how the constitution actually works at this time. I don't think this will be a childish reaction, because we still need trade and they still need trade. As long as there's a free trade deal that won't have us tied to them, I don't think we should be like children and say, no, I don't want this, but that's what they're going to do. So what we have to do, we just have to take the high road and say, well, we're the sensible ones. We still want trade. We don't want to be politically aligned to any of you guys. And if they say no, then fine, we walk away. but we shouldn't really walk away before that's happened, because it's in the interest of the EU and the UK to trade, but we have to make sure that that doesn't happen. Otherwise, I'm a WTO Brexiteer, then I will literally walk away without a deal if they don't budge. And I do have a feeling the EU last minute they'll come back and say, fine, we give up on this level playing field, the fisheries and the customs union through the back door. But it's still early days. We have a couple of months, few months left to go. Carol Howard says, hi Maya, I hope you enjoyed your drink on Saturday, the first day of pubs. I did. Do you think that Boris will hold firm on the fishing rights issue? And do you think that they could call off the talks with the EU before September? Yeah, I could see that. David Frost has been very direct about this, that if there is no point by the time like October, November comes, especially on the fishing issues and everything else, then David Frost has said that the position of the UK is that we will walk away, as I said earlier. Now Mark says that, do you think the government should abandon controversial and costly projects like HS2 and also the net zero carbon by 2050 plan? Yes, and yes, because it's stupid, doesn't work, and it's a waste of time, it's centralisation, and also with transport, there are better ways to do this. You need to improve the northwest, northeast links, East Midlands, West Midlands. HS2 is stupid and it has to go. Right, and last question we have is from Daniel, who says, hi Maya, maybe a bit late on this one, but what do you think about the over 75s? Should they be forced to pay their TV license? Again, I believe the news just came out that said that won't happen anyway, but I think the best solution is to just completely get rid of the TV license for everybody. But in the short term, I agree, because the over 75s had the benefits until recently of not paying it, and then the BBC forced them to pay. Yeah, I agree with you. That's the position that we have on the channel. Now, thank you again for watching, and thanks for the questions. As we said, the members of the channel get to send me questions directly every week. If you want to become a member, check out the link in the description, youtube.com/myotc/join, and don't forget to get your Defund the BBC t-shirts. We've got a couple of days left to go at the end of the week. Again, the link is in the description. Check it out. I'm myotc, and I'll see you guys in the next video.